Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something, it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your fucking life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period. Do you want to be stuck with someone?
Sometimes the biggest blessing is in the redirection. You know what I mean? Sometimes that is the blessing itself, and oftentimes we look at it like, oh, you know, this sucks, this is so bad. But you realize later how necessary that redirection was, and it could be something that you never imagined.
Have you guys ever seen this meme on Instagram? It's a picture of God holding a teddy bear, and it's a little girl saying, but I love him. And she doesn't want to give up the little teddy bear. And she's like, but I like it. I don't want to give it up. Little does she know in the photo, God has a huge teddy bear behind.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it was like, if you would just let go of this little thing that you're holding on to, that you swear you're arguing with God, like, God, but please, I know he's bad for me. I know he's abusive to me. I know that he doesn't speak up to me. He speaks down to me. I know that he hurts my heart. I know that he doesn't right?
Yeah.
You're holding on to that. Little do you know, God has something so much greater, so much bigger for you.
I handle no's now as God's way of guiding me. I don't see it as that person rejected me. I just see it as I'm not meant for that. Yeah. What is for me will not pass me by, and if it passes me by, it's not for me.
Come on.
So that's how I handle my no's.
You need to have no chill. Hot girls have no chill. That's why they're hot. You need to stop begging for the bare minimum and start being high maintenance. One of the saddest things I've come across online is when women cry online about how they didn't ask for much. All they wanted was loyalty. All they wanted was the bare minimum, and they didn't even get that. When you put forth this energy that you're chill, you're low maintenance, you don't want much, guess what type of people you're attracting? And I'm not only talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about friendships too. Guess what type of people you're going to attract when you communicate your low self-worth? You attract people who will make you suffer. When you communicate to others that you're low maintenance, you're not asking for too much, you are chill, you actually communicate that you don't see the value in yourself. Whenever you say,
I'm so chill, I don't even care if he puts any effort into our relationship. I'm so chill, it's okay if he forgot our anniversary. I'm so chill that he didn't get me anything for my birthday. I'm so chill, I actually prefer to subsidize 50% of the bills, even though I absorb 95% of the housework, because I have devalued my own domestic labor, even though everything I do clearly benefits him. I'm so chill, I actually prefer coffee dates. I'm so chill, I don't mind that he has a girl best friend who not so secretly hates me.
Have you ever been in love?
Yes, it was last year, and I loved him. And then he just broke up with me. It took a while to get over him, but I'm over him now. I've got a new boyfriend and I'm really happy to be with him. He broke up with me because he said he fell out of love with me, which I completely get. Like, you can fall out of love with people, I completely get that. But it's the way people handle it. He just blocks me on everything. He was my best friend, and then he just, blocked me. I felt like shit because I don't trust people, and for me to openly trust him so much and for him to be my best friend, and then him just completely end everything. Yeah, it just made me feel really bad, and it took a while to trust somebody else again, but I'm happy with who I'm with now. But no, it just took a lot. I learned to always make people a priority, but always remember to put yourself first, because you're the most important person in your life, and without you and your health, your own success, you're nobody. So you've got to put that first.
Life is too short to sit anywhere other than where you're supposed to be. And if you're sitting at a table where you don't feel like you're being fed, even if you're bringing a plate of food, you politely just leave.
I don't know who needs to hear this today, but really? That guy? Crying over him? Are you joking? Are you kidding? Are you being funny? No? Huh. Interesting.
Are the easiest thing in the entire world. If you are wondering how you and another woman got the same man, it is because men are the easiest thing in the entire world. I have never wanted a man and not gotten him. Do you have any idea how many men have wanted me and not gotten me? There has never been a single man that I have wanted that I have not gotten, because men are cheap.
Did you know? Gerard Piqué cheated on Shakira in 2022, so Shakira released a new song and tried to troll Piqué in the lyrics. She said, "You traded a Twingo for a Ferrari, you traded a Rolex for a Casio." After she said this, Casio gave a savage reply to her. They said, "Shakira, we may not be a Rolex, but clearly our customers are loyal to us." And in defense of our Casio watches, the battery lasts longer than Piqué and Shakira relationship. After Casio gave this reply, Piqué announced a partnership with Casio.
I know who you are. Nicole Mossbacher. Can I, do you mind if I...
Please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm having a little career crisis, and I saw you working over here, and I just wanted to say that I admire you. And you've just accomplished so much, and as a woman, it's inspiring.
It's very sweet.
Sure.
What's your career crisis?
I've been hustling my whole life, and I've made inroads, and it's not like the best career, but it's not nothing. But Shane, my husband, he's from this very, very wealthy family, and he's very successful, like way more than I am. I worry that his orbit is stronger than mine. His gravitational pull is gonna like suck me in and lose my mediocre career, which is whatever, but also like myself.
May I ask, did you sign a prenup?
Yes. But it's,
But if your marriage ends, you're not set for life.
no.
And I think you've got to be really careful. And you've got to keep your own orbit going, because you don't want a few years down the line to have abandoned your career. And I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but marriages don't always work out. Especially because you seem to be a smart and appealing young woman. Your power is your independence. Don't give up your power. Women have a lot to navigate, and I just think it's really important to support women when I can.
I am the wife. She's the slut he's been hitting on the side. How is Griffin? Is he dead?
His accident was severe. He needed surgery on his heart and his brain.
So, he's almost dead.
We can take you to see him if the...
I don't want to see him until he is dead.
He also bring up his personal things. Needs a patient pamphlets on pacemakers.
Give it to the side piece. You can change his diaper. I'm waiting for the funeral.
Mrs. McCall, your husband...
My husband, my dear, was a sweet man who turned into a philandering bastard who only cared about his money, which I should have known when he handed me that prenup for my wedding present. That thing is as tight as my Spanx.
I see.
If he dies and we're still married, I get his $30 million, which is way less than I deserve for putting up with that son of a bitch. But it'll have to do. I'm waiting him out.
Well, I don't think we have to. He's 75 with a bum heart, high blood pressure, and a cracked skull. He probably won't even wake up, right, Dr. Shepard?
You wouldn't screw with me, would you?
Oh, Gail, I wouldn't. There's not much hope. So there's hope. So if you want to just sit right over here and wait.
Why the hell?
Oh, come on, it's what she wanted to hear. And that's refreshing. I mean, most family members are like, please, please save him. I mean, this takes the pressure off us a bit.
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry.
Lotus proves that toxic masculinity comes in many flavors. The cold and aloof Ethan doesn't show interest in his partner physically or emotionally until another man does. If you're with this type, you might experience loneliness, confusion, and feelings of rejection. Cam is not only aggressive with his wife, but also with, well, everyone. The aggressor makes those around him uncomfortable, and they just deal, because who can argue with this confidence? Anyone who is actively looking for someone to fix is a walking red flag. This type might seem less toxic than the others, but they're just better at hiding it. Whereas this guy takes the opposite approach. He thinks that as long as he's open about his actions, they can't be harmful. Listen, it may not be all men, but it's definitely all of these men.
It is the quality of our relationships that determines the quality of our lives. When we lived in the small villages and in the communities, we knew who we were and who our identity was, and we knew where we belonged, and we knew what was expected of us, and we had plenty of certainty and very little freedom. And as we arrived into the cities, we got to be a lot more free and also a lot more alone. We had a lot more options and a lot more uncertainty and a lot more self-doubt. And all those things that used to be clear about who is in charge and about who takes care of the children and who takes care of the cows and who gets to deal with the money and who gets to demand for sex. Everything today is one big freaking negotiation. It's enormously freeing, and it's also very tiresome because it makes for a lot of arguments in which people think that they're right when in fact they have no clue, because there is no right, because it's the first time that we even have the freedom to negotiate any of it. Sex, for most of history, when it came to committed relationships, was primarily for reproduction. And you needed to have 10 children if you wanted to have 8, because 2 were not going to make it. So it made for sex, but who knows if it was pleasant or connected or satisfying, who cared? And it was primarily a woman's marital duty. And duty got replaced with desire. Desire became an expression of a sovereign self. How do you know when you have found the one? It's a very quick answer for me. There is no the one.
What is a good way to end the fight?
There's different things. You know what? I don't think at this moment I'm doing justice to this conversation. I'm going to go cool off and we'll come back, because otherwise I'm going to regret what I'm going to say, and I don't want to do that. And then you need to not follow me around the house. You need to let me go and trust that I will come back. The person who leaves has the right to go, but they have to be the one to come back. 2, you know what? Apology is really important. When I did this yesterday, I was out of line. I was angry, I wanted to shoot, I wanted to hurt, I felt attacked, and I really regret this, and I'm really sorry. That goes a long way too. Every relationship straddles freedom and commitment, togetherness and separateness, connection and independence. Every relationship. In every relationship, there is often one person who is more inclined to the connection, and one person who is more inclined for the separateness. One person more afraid of losing the other, and one person more afraid of losing themselves. One person more in touch with the fear of abandonment, one person more in touch with the fear of suffocation. We all have both, but we organize our relationship in which one of us will take on the role of this duality. But
and it might evolve seasonally too.
Completely.
Yeah.
So we need connection and we need distance. We need the things that are joined and together, and we need the things that are separate.
I don't trust any of your friends.
Why the fuck don't you trust my friends?
I'll show you. Let's call Jack.
What's the fucking point of this?
You'll see.
What? I don't get it.
Hey, is Wolf with you?
Yeah, why?
Well, can I talk to him?
No, he's on the other side of the yard.
All right. Well, thank you.
Is that all you need?
That's all I needed.
All right, well, you have a good day, Mary.
You too. Bye, Jack. Point proven!
I was going through a breakup, and I had fucked up because I was so focused on self and so focused on like improvement, and I had kind of, the relationship beforehand left me a shell of a person and just mangled. So
are you a serial monogamist?
Yeah, girl, for the first time in my life, like that's funny, we were just talking about it in the whip. I'm single, and I haven't been single like this in damn near a decade, which is crazy to say. And it's not even like a decade between two people. And I had just fucked up because I'd gone from the extreme of being super just lacking in self-love and wanting things that aren't for me, and confusing pain with love because love's always hurt for me. So if it didn't hurt, it didn't make sense. And then met someone who's very sweet and very patient and honest and just like the sweetest. And I didn't put as much effort into healing as I should have. So for like damn near 3 years, I was still very guarded. Like I couldn't say I love you. There was just deep things that I couldn't be vulnerable with someone that had proven time and again that they were like safe, you know?
And so then eventually they got tired of waiting. And I couldn't fault them for it.
They got tired of waiting.
They got tired of waiting for me. And I couldn't fault them for it because it had been so long.
I've been having...
I don't know what your view is on astrology, but understanding that the moon affects the tides and the human body is made up of 70% water, to think that astrological events do not affect human behavior is foolish.
I was always a wallower. Like every time something goes wrong, I'm kind of like, oh man, I could have done this, or I could have done this, or I wish I had. Always very like self-critical. I find that he's not critical towards others or himself. And I think that makes such a difference, because as soon as you end up criticizing yourself more, you actually end up just building a critical mindset. And so then I'm critical to you and you and you and everybody. You end up being critical to everything about your body image, about your personality, nature of just being accepting of everybody and everything. Ends up making you love yourself so much more, because your mindset just completely changes. I always had that mentality when something goes wrong, that why does it happen to me? Like, why always me? I've done so many good things. I did this, but why does this bad thing happen to me? And then I just, every time I wrote or reflected on it, because I always kept a journal of, even if it was something I felt shouldn't have happened to me, or something I felt should have happened to me, just writing down and breaking it down, trying to understand what is it that the problem was and why did I feel like it shouldn't have happened to me. And I just realized that it was all to do with changing your perspective, like seeing, okay, this has happened to me, but how can I grow from it? Like, this has happened to me because of a reason, and if I'm not learning the lesson, then it will keep happening to me over and over again until I learn the lesson. Because I don't think the universe or God or anybody is trying to do things to harm you. It's for you to grow deeper and understand yourself better, and grow in a way that maybe you don't realize at the time.
The topic here is owning when you're the bad guy in the relationship.
Okay, let's see you do that.
Talk about how you were a bitch and the person in your last relationship.
I was coming off of a string of talking to a lot of guys, but being nobody's girlfriend. That went on for years, where guys would constantly be like, you know, you're so great, you're so this, you're so that. I would get like emotionally invested a little bit. And then they would say, there was this thing, because we were so young, like in our early 20s, where, you know, but you're wifey material. I'm not ready to settle down. Like, I'm not ready for you yet. So kind of coming out of that situation and feeling like, okay, so you dating guys who are just funny and good looking and smart, who you feel that spark with, that doesn't work. You have to choose differently next time. You have to choose the guy who you would be like, who is kind, who is, you know, who has better characteristics. And then in comes this person, like kind of on cue, and he's amazing. He's honestly so sweet. The pedestal that everyone else didn't want to put me on, like he was ready to put me on that pedestal and treat me like a queen and do all of those things. The problem is that I knew that I didn't feel that level of attraction to him, but I wanted to so badly. So I just kept trying. I kept suppressing those feelings of, you don't love him.
Me stuck at home, perpetually cooking and cleaning for my husband for 8 years. He would wake up, his clothes were next to him in bed. He would go to the gym, he'd come back, his work clothes were waiting by the shower. He would get changed, he would walk out with a lunch bag. Over those 8 years, I became stuck. At the first year and a half, I was just using gratitude. Like, it's so beautiful. Look how I'm so grateful. I don't have to work. My husband's out. Like, yes, I'm cooking and cleaning, but I've got a husband that loves me. I've got a roof over my head. By year 2, as I started to be like, is this really the life you want? Yeah. I used the gratitude again. But Lisa, how grateful are you? Don't worry your sadness. How grateful are you? By year 8, it became, don't you dare voice your opinion, because how ungrateful are you if you do? And that voice, that whisper got louder and louder. The gratitude that was beautiful part of my life in the first year became exactly what was the massive handcuff in year 8.
I hope you know today that the only way you're going to move past the love you don't have is to focus on the love you do have. That even if your Chad, Brad, or Vlad doesn't love you, that your mom, dad, sister from another mister, or dog does. Because your worth isn't defined by one man and his entirely subjective opinion of you. And you don't need to believe the voices inside your head telling you you're worthless without him. Because 8 years ago, I dated a man who told me I was never going to make a real living being a creative. And when he dumped me, I didn't get over him by asking him for closure or plotting the ways in which I would get him back, but by going home and hearing my parents tell tell me that some men are too dumb to realize the treasure when they have one, and learning that it was better to believe their opinion of me than my ex-boyfriend's opinion of me. One day you're gonna realize that no matter what kind of pedestal you put him on, your ex was not an omniscient god. He was just a Chad, and that no one, including you, needs to earn the love of those around them. Whether it's a girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, or family member. Because love isn't your salary or your year-end bonus, it's a gift, and the love that is meant for you isn't earned, it's given.
Song Joong-ki, Song Hye-kyo, so both parties, they have these wildly successful acting careers before they meet. He was obsessed with her and the fact that they were going to be casted in the same role. So this is like their very first real introduction, also going to be each other's love interest. The show, international sensation, the drama ends. And then a month later, they announced that they're getting married. Married October 2017 until about 2019. They announced their divorce. Wasn't joint statements put out at the same time. Song Joong-ki filed for divorce. Song Hye-kyo was out of the country and she found out about her own divorce through the news. Reason everyone felt like it was her fault. Like he was the one breaking up with her. She was not a good wife. She didn't care. She was still focused on her career, which is exactly what he was doing. December 2022, he announced that he was dating a new woman, a former British actress named Katie Louise Saunders. The next month, he announces that she's pregnant. Because she got pregnant very quickly after their relationship status was released, maybe Song Hye-kyo and Song Joong-ki got divorced because Song Hye-kyo had allegedly mentioned to people she was going to try and get pregnant and it wasn't working. Or some people state that maybe Song Hye-kyo wasn't ready to have a kid because she's at like the prime of her career. It was said that she was paid about $200,000 per episode of The Glory.
Why do you think it's so much harder to date today? It should be easier than ever.
We have so much choice. You have this illusion that there are so many other people out there. So you go on a first date and then it's like, yeah, I had a good time, but let me go see who else is out there. Let me see who's at this other party. There's this idea that it's not like you're gonna focus on one person if you don't feel amazing chemistry the first time. Sometimes it takes hanging out with people over time.
You're not supposed to get along with everybody. Everybody's not supposed to like you. Stop dumbing down who you are so you can fit in with where you left. Stop crying about people hating on you. They're supposed to hate on you. If you're a leader, they are going to hate on you. That's part of the job requirement.
You're responsible for keeping a human alive, especially at a toddler age. That's a lot of work. I'm afraid I'm gonna go bald because I don't have a lot of hair. Oh my God, I have generalized anxiety disorder, so like everything.
Living.
Life. Life.
How do you cope with that?
Sometimes you gotta go on a walk. Money.
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 Inflation.
My biggest anxiety right now is that I'm unemployed and waiting to see where my next paycheck/job is going to be.
Just being stuck in a job I don't like.
Finding a job. Keeping a roof over my head.
Time.
What's gonna happen next?
Where am I gonna be in the future?
Not achieving what I set out to achieve.
I feel like I'm on track right now, but I could always fall off.
I don't know if it's success that scares me more or failure that scares me more. Mortality. My parents' health. Losing somebody I love.
How do you deal with that?
Cry. Cry a lot. Ending up alone.
Being alone.
You know, it gets lonely at night, you want to cuddle.
People leaving.
Being by myself.
Not making friends in a new place.
Hurting other people.
Even if it's just something like I may have said by accident. That I'm actually unlovable, that people are my friend because I've convinced them to, and that deep down they actually hate me.
Not doing enough.
And that I won't be enough.
Or letting people that I really care about down. Disappointing people.
You're not good. This is not gonna work. You know, these people hate you.
Being unhappy. Internally, no passion. Never feel like proud of myself.
And his wife, Deborah Lee, are amicably ending their marriage. In a statement to People, the couple announced the decision, saying that they had been blessed to share almost 3 decades together in a, quote, wonderful, loving marriage. The couple go on to say that their journey is now shifting and they're separating to pursue their own individual growth. They say that their family, quote, has been and will always be our highest priority. We undertake this next chapter with gratitude, love, and kindness. They end by asking for privacy and noting that this will be the only statement either would be making. The Aussie pair, who share 2 children, have been married for 27 years. They met in 1995 on the set of an Australian television series and were married less than a year later on April 11th, 1996. Over the years, they have become one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. Their last red carpet appearance was on May 1st at the Met Gala. In July, they attended the men's finals at Wimbledon.
Once in a while, I'm late. And my boyfriend takes it so personally, blows it way out of proportion. This triggers our biggest fights. How can I convince him it's not about him? This notion that you decide that it is way out of proportion on what is worthy of being upset about and what is not, it never bodes well. Your boyfriend has decided that you mustn't care about him or respect him. The way confirmation bias works is that I am going to pick up evidence that's going to confirm to me that what I believe is actually true, and I'm going to disregard any evidence that's going to challenge it and make me want to reconsider. The multiple times where you actually came early, the multiple times when you've been there on time, the multiple times when you've arranged specific special things, at that moment will matter none, because they would challenge this idea. Why would we rather think that the other person doesn't love us rather than be relieved by learning that that's not the case? Because there is something in the way that we organize reality, in the way that this confirmation bias gives us order. It gives me a sense that I know what's true. And even if what's true sucks, I still prefer to think that that's what's true, because at least it organizes my reality. Very strange things that us human beings do.
75 years. That's how much time you get if you're lucky. 75 years. 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not a lot of time, is it? Don't waste them. Get your head out of the rat race and forget about the superficial things that preoccupy your existence and get back to what's important now. Right now, this very second. And I'm not saying drop everything and let the world come to a grinding halt. I'm saying that you can become a seeker. You can be loving more. You can be taking some chances. You can be living more. You can be spending more time with your family. You can be getting in touch with the part of you that lives instead of fears, the part of you that loves instead of hates.
Why do you get so much food? Why?
I caught the fish.
Yes.
I made the fire.
And?
I cooked. I did all the work. And everybody got something.
No, we all worked.
What did you do?
We gathered all the wood for the fire. We need to work together. They don't know how to do that.
Exactly. And maybe that's why you should not be so lazy and dependent on me.
Abigail, I think you're forgetting that we work on a yacht. You are a toilet manager. You don't know how to handle this.
What yacht? Where's the yacht? Who am I?
You're the toilet manager.
No. In the yacht, toilet manager here. Captain, who am I?
You're the captain.
Yes. In the yacht, cleaning lady here, captain.
To me, the biggest tragedy of life is not being alone for longer than you wanted or ending up alone, but ending up with someone that you could only be with by choosing ignorance over the truth. Because the reality is, people don't tell you who they are, they show you who they are. And I'd be a billionaire by now if I had $1 for every time I ignored a red flag a man waved in my face in my 20s. Because I thought that closing my eyes meant that the red flag didn't exist. And the thing is, I got lucky, because every time I closed my eyes to the truth, I always opened them to find that he had left. And though it felt like abandonment at the time, it was the universe's way of telling me I was too stupid to make my own decisions. And so if you've just been dumped or had your heart broken, please remember that the worst thing in life is not being alone, but believing that the company of a man is more important than the company of the truth. Ignoring the red flags now only means you have to deal with them later, because ignorance isn't bliss, it's deferred misery. And your misery right now isn't your misfortune, it's your tuition. Now it's up to you what you do with that education.
औछार एक पड़ी है बरसातें अभी हैं बाकी हमें मिलाने में सबका सहयोग पूरा है हो हमें मिलाने में सबका सहयोग पूरा है मिलन अभी आधा अधूरा है